Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But
I have never voted for President Obama, ever. I am a Republican who cursed his name, who falsely accused him, and someone who zealously worked to ensure that he would never be my president. And to the Republicans who wish to repeal the Affordable Care Act, I plead with you to reconsider. Swallow your pride, as I am doing right now, in front of what I assume are many Democrats, and do what is right. Do what is right for the people.
I just had a patient say to me, thank God Trump was elected and we can get rid of this stupid Obamacare.
Affordable Care Act saved millions of Americans, and GOP voted just against healthcare benefits. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. So on our today's episode, we'll be looking into this era that's being called F around and find out. And it seems like some Republicans are just doing that, especially when it comes to their healthcare benefits. Imagine this: you head to the polls and vote for the candidate that promises to repeal and replace Obamacare, only to wake up and realize, wait a minute, the Affordable Care Act is Obamacare. Yeah, they just voted against their own healthcare interests, and now the consequences are hitting hard. I mean, how dumb or stupid would you be to just go vote against a policy just because you don't like that specific person that came up with that policy, not even understanding the policy itself? Guys, I want us to watch these videos that I've gathered for you guys, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are on the comment section. We'll come back to it.
You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better.
Correct.
Last month you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care, always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this: I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be? I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful health care, beautiful health care, beautiful health care.
Thanks again. Perfect. Hi, and welcome to Donald Trump's brand new beautiful healthcare. Healthcare for healthy people. You see, sick people carry disease like diabetes and tennis elbow and female problems, to name a few. And well, it just gets very expensive, what with all the medicine and those little surgery knives. Brand new beautiful healthcare gives control back to the people who own insurance companies. Because free market economics is the best cure of all. And for our more decrepit patients like Faye here, there's Medicare.
I'm 55.
Right. Might I suggest Canada?
excuse me, I actually have noticed a little blood in my stool.
Uh-oh. At brand new beautiful healthcare, everyone is welcome. Except for most people.
I have never voted for President Obama, ever. I am a Republican who cursed his name, who falsely accused him, and someone who zealously worked to ensure that he would never be my president. I was diagnosed with a serious autoimmune disease. Now labeled with a pre-existing condition, I am disqualified from any and all health insurance options. Literally a dead man walking. But then this guy signs this bill. And now I have access to health insurance, and I receive the care that I so desperately need. I can now say I had a serious autoimmune disease. And to the Republicans who wish to repeal the Affordable Care Act, I plead with you to reconsider. Swallow your pride, as I am doing right now, in front of what I assume are many Democrats, and do what is right. Do what is right for the people.
It wasn't about Democrats or Republicans. It was about our values as Americans and making sure that hardworking Americans like Brent are no longer locked out of health insurance through no fault of their own.
Dear President Trump, I know I don't look so good. I've been undergoing chemotherapy since May, and it takes a lot out of you. The good news is that Obamacare is keeping me alive and can cure my stage 4 cancer, but I need to keep my insurance. Your latest plan will put me and millions of other Americans at risk. Throwing us to the mercy of the insurance companies is not the way to go. We need the protections of the Affordable Care Act so that people with pre-existing conditions will be covered. We need somebody that will stand up for us rather than selling us out.
I just had a patient say to me, thank God Trump was elected and we can get rid of this stupid Obamacare and go back to the ACA. Oh, I love being in my reputation era while they're in there fuck around and find out.
All of these Trump voters admitting that they didn't realize that Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act when they vehemently hated Obamacare is one of the most openly racist things I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't understand how they don't have the critical thinking and the thought process to just know not to say that out loud because of just how simply racist it is that they were so against Obamacare just because they associated it with Obama, which was the point. That's why Republicans coined Obamacare, so that racist people would hate it without understanding what it was. And that's exactly what they're admitting happened by saying they hated Obamacare and they thought Trump was going to get rid of Obamacare, but they have the Affordable Care Act and they didn't realize they were the same thing. I wish I don't wish that they would keep it in, but it's insane to me that they don't have like the maybe 2 or 3 step thought process that tells them don't share that out loud because you are self-exposing that you are super racist.
Health insurance sucks, but believe me when I tell you it used to be a lot worse. This tweet is on to something. Before the ACA/Obamacare, insurance companies used to be able to deny you coverage for pre-existing conditions, and there were a lot of pre-existing conditions. If you had diabetes or survived a heart attack in the past, you were uninsurable. Full stop, no insurance for you. HIV, no insurance. Beat breast cancer? Congrats. Good luck if it ever comes back, because we ain't paying. That was just life in America until basically 10 years ago. And if you had conditions like high cholesterol, asthma, or even hay fever, insurance companies would cover you, but they'd just jack up your premiums instead. And even if you were covered, insurers could just cancel your entire policy if you made the teeniest mistake on your application. And believe me, they would move heaven and earth to find any errors and deny you coverage. It's called rescission. And just like denying coverage based on pre-existing conditions, it's illegal now thanks to the ACA. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. The far right wants nothing more than to kill the ACA and let the free market decide whether you live or die. Last time Trump was in office, he made repealing Obamacare one of his biggest goals, and he failed by just 1 vote. There's no reason he won't try again, especially as Republicans in Congress have become even more MAGA, not less, in the 7 years since. More than 40 million people rely on ACA-related policies for their health care. We cannot let this happen.
Okay. A trending search in Google today. Today's what? November 13th. How many days after the election is that? That's 8 days. And we're now seeing these questions being asked on Google. Are Obamacare and ACA the same thing? Is Obamacare and ACA the same thing? Really? Are we really asking this question now, after the election? Yes, my friends, Obamacare is the ACA. They named it Obamacare back in the day because they figured it would have a bad connotation because the Republicans were against it. So they termed it as Obamacare so that all of the followers would hate it because it was named after Obama. But it was actually called the Affordable Care Act. So over the years, it became more known as its actual name, the Affordable Care Act. The health care plan that so many millions of Americans rely on, even Republican Americans. They don't realize until after the election that it's the same thing. We're seeing a lot of leopards eating faces, and it's only hasn't even been 2 weeks yet. Good luck the next 4 years.
Why were y'all okay with the Affordable Care Act, but you just strongly disliked Obamacare? But they're the exact same thing. So what is it about the Obamacare that you don't like that you're okay with it being called Affordable Care Act? Like, what's the difference? There's got to be a reason why you guys don't like Obamacare, but the equivalent is Affordable Care Act, and you guys are okay with that. Like, let me know.
I'm seeing a ton of videos about people who didn't know that Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act, and as a health insurance expert, I have to tell you, this has been a thing for close to 15 years now. I have been explaining that Obamacare is the Affordable Care Act for so long that absolutely none of this shocks me. Health insurance is already super duper complicated and really hard to read and understand. But then when you have right-wing media changing up the words associated with insurance, it just confuses everybody. You've got deductibles, you've got co-insurance, you've got out-of-pocket, you've got your premium, you've got a million things going on with your health insurance. Get to understand health insurance and know your rights, because things are about to change.
Serious question for the Republicans who didn't know that the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare were the same thing. What was the thought process there? Did you think that you had the Affordable Care Act because it was for Republicans and Obamacare was for the Democrats? Did you think that Obama was still helping with Obamacare? Like, did you think Obama was running it? What did you think the main difference was between Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act? Like, did you just think, like, Obamacare was the more liberal insurance and you just got, like, the more non-liberal insurance? I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm genuinely so fascinated by this blunder. I could understand not getting tariffs, sure. I'm just... If we didn't think they were the same thing, what did we think they were? How did we think they were different? Like, when you got your Affordable Care Act coverage, did you specifically say, no Obamacare for me, only Affordable Care Act? Did you think that Trump was going to take away the free Obamacare insurance for Democrats, but not the Affordable Care Act insurance for Republicans? I'm genuinely trying to understand. So please leave me a comment. And for what it's worth, I genuinely hope that everyone who needs free health insurance or low-cost health insurance ends up with it at the end of this.
Now, why is it that after all these years, some people still do not know that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are one and the same? The ACA is Obamacare, Obamacare is the ACA. Why do you not know that? Jeez.
For you Trump supporters that voted for Donald Trump and was hoping that he will get rid of Obamacare but keep the Affordable Care Act, like, what did you think you were paying into? Did you look at your receipts and see that it said Obamacare? Or did you not look at your receipts? How did you not know that the Affordable Care Act was the AKA Obama plan? And somebody told me that you guys looked up the policies before voting. Please.
I didn't realize how disconnected people were from how, like, the political machine works in America until I saw people, like, genuinely asking why Republicans would rebrand the Affordable Care Act as Obamacare. And there were so many Republicans sort of sitting here confused at the end of the election, like, I thought Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act were different things. The reason why they have two terms for the same policy is because Republicans understood that many people who disliked Obama, their dislike for him was not rooted in his policies. I'm not going to sit here and accuse people of certain ideologies, feelings, biases, but I will say Republicans understood that the root cause of that dislike had more to do with Obama as a person than it did with his policies. And they knew that because of blind focus groups. They test different policies with people to see which ones resonate the most. Typically, Democratic Party policies resonate the most. Once they are attached to a politician or a party, that's when you see a drop in support of those policies. It's kind of funny that in an era when Americans were patting themselves on the back and proclaiming we were in a post-racial society, Republicans were harnessing, in part, anti-Black sentiment to turn voters against their own best interest.
Guys, you've seen clearly that some people didn't actually know that the Affordable Care Act is the Obamacare. I mean, it's one and the same thing. But most people actually voted against it because they didn't know that. And actually got surprised to realize that people just voted without even understanding some of the policies that they are voting against. Because now people are complaining when Obamacare is gone, they'll never be getting the benefits that it were coming with it. We all know that health insurances are very expensive to pay, and with the Obamacare, as I was checking it out, some of the benefits that these policy had, some insurances company would not cover that. We all know insurance companies, it's all about business and making the dollar. It's all about them putting back money in their pockets, but not to benefit you as the user or as the beneficiary of the insurance. So it's quite sad that people just voted against Obamacare because for some of them didn't like Obama. Some people didn't like this Obamacare because I think, is it because it was called Obamacare? Because that would be very stupid of someone to come and vote against a policy, not even understanding the benefits that they're getting from that policy, just because you don't like that specific candidate. And it's actually sad that we are in 2024 and people are voting their candidates or choosing their candidates because they like them personally, but not of the policies that they have or the plans that they have for us as citizens. It's quite crazy, and I think for them being for the Republicans, them being Americans, you should be knowing better. I mean, this is a first world country, as we always taught out here, or as we always learn. So it's quite sad that people don't get to go through the policies, they don't get to understand what they're voting against and what they're voting in to get. So I saw so many people who were online and they were like, we're voting because Trump is going to do away with abortion. It's not gonna be happening anymore. And especially men that were coming online to talk about this, it was quite sad, but at the end of the day, I believe everyone has an opinion on who to vote and the right to vote for whoever they want, especially in this country that it's a democratic country. So I also saw people that are so happy that, Trump, voting in for Trump because he's going to do away with Obamacare. They didn't understand the consequences that it comes with it. Because I believe with the economy that we're living in and the era that we're living in, not only in America, but in every part of the world, people are having hard times, especially when it comes to finances, especially when it comes to job and good payment. So for you, for example, like the lady in this video who has cancer and is begging Trump not to do away with Obamacare because it has been of great help to her. For I know there are some Republicans that have even way worse medical condition that need a lot of money, but still went on ahead and voted against Obamacare just because they didn't like Obama, or some of them just didn't like him for his race, not because he's Obama, but because of his color. I don't know, but they can come here and tell us on the comment section. I've also seen people that are so happy that now there's going to be mass deportation in the United States for when it comes to immigrants, and I want us to do another video about that, because everything that happens in life, or every option or every choice that we make, and every decision that we make and every choice that we choose, they all have consequences. Now people are begging online, begging Trump not to do away with Obamacare because it has been of help into their lives. I don't know what's gonna happen, because I've heard some rumors and saying that Obamacare will not be working as of January 2025. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how long it takes for someone to remove a certain policy, or when they come in the government. I think people have, I don't know if your constitution is the same, that you have to vote for it, like people, the citizens have to have a voice on that. I don't know it's gonna be the same case, but I'm hoping that he don't get to do away with Obamacare, because it has really helped the Americans, and especially people that really need this help, because it's not everyone that can afford to pay every time cash when they visit a hospital. It's not every person that can afford to pay cash or have an insurance that actually caters for their chemotherapy, which is quite expensive. I'm just waiting to see how these things are gonna turn out. And next time when you're voting, you have to be very sure of the policies. You have to go through what your candidate, the agendas they have, the policies they have for you. Are they favoring you, or are you voting against your interest? Let me know what your thoughts are on the comment section, guys. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Thank you so much for watching up to this part, and until the next episode, bye.